Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Today we've got another powerful story about hope. This is an original story written by yours truly. So let's dive in without further ado. A faint scratching sound echoed in the quiet room, accompanied by the rhythmic tap of a pencil against paper. Amidst the dim glow of a lone lamp, a young girl sat absorbed in her studies. The worn pages of her textbook lay open on her lap, the words swimming before her tired eyes. Outside, the evening wind whispered secrets through the leaves, but inside, there was only the soft rustle of paper and the determined frown on her face. Her brow was creased with concentration, her lips moving silently as she read. Despite the late hour, she was lost in a world of knowledge and determination. Her name was Sarah, a wisp of a girl with hair the color of midnight and eyes that shone with an inner light. She lived with her mother in a small, creaky house on the edge of town. Their world was one of hushed tones and careful steps, where every penny counted and dreams were spun from moonlight and hope. It had been a particularly arduous day. Sarah had begun her morning before the sun kissed the horizon, helping her mother with chores, then hurried off to school, her stomach growling a silent protest. In the classrooms, while other children boasted of new toys or weekend adventures, Sarah remained silent, her gaze fixed on the teacher. She hung on to every word, soaking up knowledge like a sponge. For her, school was a sanctuary, a place where she could momentarily forget the weight of her circumstances. Yet, as the day wore on, the pangs of hunger intensified, turning her thoughts back to her meager breakfast as the final school bell chimed. Releasing her into the fading light, Sarah hesitated. Her heart ached with a familiar pang. She couldn't bear the thought of returning home to an empty pantry. She considered staying out longer, hoping to find solace in the company of others. But the sight of laughing children tugged at her heartstrings, reminding her of a time when she, too, had known such joy. With a heavy heart, she turned toward home, each step echoing her sadness. Inside their humble abode, shadows danced in the twilight, stretching long and eerie. The aroma of wood smoke and lavender hung in the air, but it couldn't mask the emptiness that permeated the rooms. Her mother, Elara, sat by the window, her face etched with worry, as Sarah entered. Her heart clenched. Her mother's thin frame seemed even more shrunken in the gloom. Her hands clasped tightly in her lap, Elara looked up, her eyes shining with a mixture of love and concern. "Sarah, my love," she said, her voice as soft as the fading light. "How was your day?" Sarah forced a smile, though her stomach rumbled, betraying her true feelings. "It was good, Mama," she replied, her voice barely a whisper. Elara nodded. Understanding etched on her face, she reached out, her touch as gentle as the caress of a summer breeze. "I've made us some tea," she said, "and we can share our stories." The ritual was their solace, a quiet communion of shared dreams and unspoken fears. But tonight, something troubled Sarah. The day's taunts echoed in her ears, and the hollowness within her threatened to spill over. Over their steaming mugs, Sarah poured out her heart. She told her mother about the laughter, the snickers, the careless jabs that pierced her like shards of glass. Elara listened, her gaze unwavering, her grip on the mug tightening. When Sarah finished, The silence stretched, heavy with unshed tears and suppressed sobs. Finally, Elara spoke, her voice trembling ever so slightly. "My brave little star," she said, reaching out to cup Sarah's face in her hands. "You are my pride. You do not need their approval to shine." Sarah clung to her mother's words, finding solace in their truth. In the days that followed, Sarah found herself growing stronger. While her classmates reveled in their carefree lives, Sarah delved deeper into her studies. She devoured books, the words fueling her mind and spirit. The library became her second home, the scent of old books and hushed whispers her constant companions. As the months passed, a subtle change came over Sarah. Her eyes, once downcast, now held a newfound confidence. Her steps, once hesitant, now carried a newfound purpose. Her spirit, once shrouded in shadows, now began to glow with resilience. She was still the quiet girl with calloused hands and patched-up shoes. But now there was a fire in her eyes that spoke of dreams and determination. Years rolled by like the changing seasons, each bringing its own set of challenges. But Sarah faced them all with unwavering grace. She graduated top of her class, her mind sharp, her spirit unbroken. As she stepped onto the graduation stage, her heart swelled with a mix of emotions. In her hands, she held not just a diploma, but the promise of a future that defied the limitations of her circumstances. She knew her journey was far from over, but she was ready, with a heart full of gratitude and a mind full of dreams. Sarah turned away from the applause and walked toward the waiting world. Her path was illuminated by the memory of her mother's love and her own indomitable spirit. Before we part ways, I have a favor to ask. If you've been touched by this story and found it valuable, please consider subscribing. It's absolutely free and means a lot to me. Your support helps me continue sharing these stories. Also, I would love to hear your thoughts. What did you think of the story? What lessons did you take away? Share your insights in the comments. Thank you for listening and for joining me on this journey of words and meaning. Until next time, stay curious and keep embracing the power of stories.